I think a big part of it was us putting a plan in place, getting the rest of the team's input on how we were going to do things differently, and then putting that plan in place. So I think from a team aspect, everybody kind of knew what direction we were going. Nobody knew how busy we were going to be or if we were going to be able to even stay open, if there was going to be a demand for what we were doing. But there was a demand, and we were able to continue to push through it. And it was really a day-by-day game plan. It's, okay, this worked out well, let's do it a little differently tomorrow or next week, and just, one day at a time, 1 week at a time, and 6 weeks later, here we are. So my name is Paul Jensen. I am one of the owners here at the Dotted Lime restaurant. The restaurant's been in operation since August of 2017. I think one of the things that sets the Dotted Lime apart from other restaurants is that it provides for a need to certain people. We're an allergen-friendly restaurant specializing in gluten-free, peanut and tree nut-free. So beyond just having some creative menu items and some really great baked items, we're meeting a need for people that have to eat a certain way. We're also able to accommodate other food allergies such as dairy-free or any medical conditions that require eating a certain way. Being a restaurant and on the front end of a national pandemic, I guess it was global for a while before it came to the United States, we were just thinking, how do we continue to serve the people that we've met along the way? How do we continue to make sure that our products are available to people? So when we learned of the closure of the restaurants where we were only able to do to-go food, we just kind of shifted gears a little bit to make sure that we were able to do that and do it on a larger scale. The interesting thing is the tail end of 2019, my wife and I pushed really hard to make sure that we had our full menu available online, to order and pay online, to set ourselves up for to-go items. Since 2017, we've also been doing family pack meals that are available Tuesday through Friday, pick up between 4 and 5. So we've been doing those for 2.5 years. So a big transition for us was just being able to produce more food to fill those voids. So, for example, if our restaurant sales were on a trajectory like this, all of a sudden our restaurant sales were like this, but then our family meal sales skyrocketed. So it required more production space. So we basically turned the entire dining room into a kitchen prep space so that we could mass produce larger volumes of food and be able to keep up with it. I think the most challenging thing was probably trying to understand what the public's perception was and how to address their perception of what we were doing, how we were doing it, and just making sure that we were making people feel safe and keeping everybody's safety at the very forefront of what we were doing. So I think that was the key at the beginning, was just making sure that we were putting safety precautions in place and that we were addressing anybody's safety concerns, even pre-addressing people and anticipating what their safety concerns were and being proactive rather than reactive. One example is prior to this happening, we talked about putting a hand sink in the dining area for guests to come in and wash their hands before they order their food, and we discussed doing that. So during the shutdown, we put a hand sink in as people queue up to order their food. Not only does that give them an alternative to just straight up hand sanitizer, but it also, I think, demonstrates to them that we're taking sanitation and personal hygiene seriously. I think the whole industry is going to shift a little bit to a large portion of takeout. low touch transactions are going to really be more popular than they were. I think that there's always going to be room for dine-in, and people are always going to want the atmosphere of sitting in a restaurant. But I think during this time, people learned how to order and enjoy food that maybe they wouldn't have thought as takeout, and people also learned how to cook at home. They were forced to learn how to cook at home. So I think two things from moving out of this shutdown and into our new world is people are going to take more advantage of ordering and delivery. I think that restaurants that typically were only dine-in and didn't allow takeout, they had to think about how to do takeout, how to do their menu items in a takeout format. And I think that there's going to be a larger shift to a takeout format. So I think that's going to grow, but I also think that there's going to be a large population that have learned to cook at home, and they've learned that they enjoy cooking at home. I think Columbia and the surrounding areas really spread the word and focused on supporting local. I felt like that was a really common theme through all the conversations that I was either personally a part of or a part of online, was simply supporting local restaurants. I think that, and local businesses for that matter. I think that people were shopping at smaller shops as opposed to some of the big box stores, maybe for ease and because the customer service was so much heavier with the smaller shops. But I think that the largest theme that I saw coming out of it was simply support local, and making sure that the Columbia and the Maury County economy not only survives but thrives through this. I think moving out of the pandemic and into whatever the new normal looks like, it's going to certainly change the way every business does things. Restaurants in particular, I definitely think that there's going to be higher value placed on, as I mentioned earlier, higher value placed on pickup and online ordering, where nobody has to touch any money or credit cards. I think technology is going to play a big part in every industry. I feel that some of the larger industries that and larger companies that let a big part of their workforce work from home, they're going to see the value in that, and they're going to be able to reduce their footprint and allow more of their workforce to work from home. From my wife Chrissy and I and the rest of the team at the Dotted Lime, we have nothing but love for Columbia and how Columbia and the surrounding cities and towns have supported us through all of this. We were honestly 6-7 weeks ago, we were petrified. No idea where we were going to be 6 weeks from then. But the amount of love and support that we received from everybody that we touch has just been amazing. And so just a huge heartfelt thank you from myself, my wife, the rest of the family, and the rest of the Dotted Lime crew. I think that's probably the most important thing is it was amazing to see the community come through, not just in supporting the local restaurant, but contributions for programs like the Buy Them a Meal, or we partnered with Davis Brothers Roofing on a large contribution to people that were out of work. We were able to issue about $10,000 in gift cards for out-of-work restaurant and food service and hospitality employees. So it's just an amazing thing to be a part of a community that was so generous through a time that was so unsettling.